I'm Don. It's late. I'm up. Hi. How have you guys been? Long time no see, or have you see me? Whatever. I see you. I see you, man. I see you. Welcome to my show. For those of you who are new to the show, and analytics say a bunch of you are, this is a watch-along commentary show where I watch some of my favorite movies of all time, and we look at them from every possible level. 30,000 feet. We talk about the budget, production, yada yada yada. But then we also go all the way down to the micro analysis of the film and what it's about and everything. So if you love movies, this is a great place for you to hang out. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So tonight we're going to be watching The Big Lebowski, the Coen Brothers classic, starring Jeff Bridges and John Goodman. This is streaming on HBO Max right now. So if you want to check that out, watch along with me. I'm going to get started here in just a minute. Hey, my friend Anthony Chabot is here. Hey, buddy, how are you? My girlfriend died in a car accident of her drunk. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, Anthony. Are you all right, buddy? I mean, you've obviously got a lot going on. I hope you're okay. And my best wishes to you and your family and her family and everything. That's terrible. I'm sorry to hear that. Sheesh. Thoughts and prayers and whatnot, my friend. I'm incredibly sorry to hear that. Um, let's see here. Um, like I say, we're going to be watching The Big Lebowski tonight. Sorry to have to make that crazy turn. Don't want to ignore Anthony, friend of the show. We love Anthony here, so that's terrible. Um, yeah, we're going to be watching this insane dark comedy. It's one of the few movies that has this weird thing where maybe the first time you see it, you don't even like it. I didn't really. I found it kind of boring and strange, and it's one of those movies that it ends and you're kind of like, oh. But then after you've seen it the second time or the third time or the fourth time, and then just the lines become quotable, and then you meet other people who know the lines, and then it becomes like this little community. So yeah, the Lebowski is a cult unto itself, and I belong. I'm a card carrying member, literally. I'm a Dudist priest. I'm an ordained minister in the Church of the Big Lebowski. So apologies for my sacrilege, but the dude abides. I'm turning 42 in a couple weeks. Oh, congratulations. Happy birthday. I'm seeing Weapons today. Oh yeah, I want to see Weapons as well. I hear it's an amazing film. I'm really interested in checking that one out. Let's see here. Anthony also says, saw Superman, Fantastic Four, Naked Gun, and Freakier Friday. Wow, you get to out to all the flicks. Yeah, I rarely get out to the theater. I wait for stuff to come to streaming because I'm up late at night, and most theaters around here don't have 2 a.m. movie shows. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on The Big Lebowski. Like I said, I'm going to watch this one on HBO Max, which was formerly Max, which was formerly HBO Max, which was formerly HBO Go, or was that HBO Now? But then there was an HBO.com. Anyways, before my head explodes, I'm going to watch this on here, and I'm going to press play in 3, 2, 1. All right, so we're going to get started on the Lebowski. There it is. All right, we'll go for this skip whatever preview ad for the Peacemaker they have. I love HBO fanfare. Anthony wants to see Toxic Avenger. Yeah, I'm anxious to see the Toxic Avenger. For those of you who aren't familiar with the new updated one, Peter Dinklage plays the Toxic Avenger. I don't believe it's the same Melvin character, but this movie came out like in 2023 or something, but it couldn't secure the distribution to get out in theaters. So now I don't know, somebody picked it up and they're putting it out. So if you're a big Trauma fan or Dinklage fan or Toxic Avenger fan, go check out that one in the theater and throw a few bucks its way. But yeah, I'm anxious to see that one. I'll for sure watch it on streaming. All right, it's starting with this, the country ballad and the Sam Elliott talking. Do I have my captions on? I don't feel like I have my captions on. Um, which is so weird, the wraparound of this with like the cowboy narrator, the old west kind of thing. Yep, subtitles. There we go. That's better. Now I know actually what they're saying. Um, so yeah, Sam Elliott doing like the narrator, which is just a strange, bizarre character, but it's fun. Obviously, it keeps the like audience. It sort of represents the audience. He even comments like certain points of the movie about what's going on and how he feels about it. Do you have to swear so much, dude? What else is Anthony saying? My Instagram account was hacked. Oh man, you are getting kicked in the balls by life, my friend. Yeah. Well, did you get it back? Was that working? I know every now and then you change Instagram accounts. I didn't know you had a couple or what. There's the tumbling tumbleweeds tumbling on, and there's the classic line. I've seen London, and I ain't never been to France, and I ain't seen no Queen or damn Dundies, as the fella says. Like, just some of the lines in this movie are so subtly hilarious that the first time you watch it, you're like, "What did he say?" Um, the whole point of this movie in general is that they used to make these old like Humphrey Bogart movies, these complicated detective stories. The Big Sleep is the one that comes to mind right away. And it's the plots like you ever try to figure out the plot of the Maltese Falcon? Super complicated and kind of pointless. Um, but it's a fun ride. You hang out with these interesting people and you see, all these different characters that come in and intertwine and everything. So, there's the first appearance of the dude. So in this one, instead of having Humphrey Bogart try to figure out what's going on in this mystery movie, and it's, if you hang out with Bogey for 2 hours, you're pretty confident Bogey's going to handle, right? It's Bogey. But they wanted to take the most inept character possible, like just this super stoned baked guy, and have him try to figure out of this complicated plot and keep track of it all. So, it took me like 3 or 4 times before I even understood the whole how everybody is woven together like the rug that the dude loves so much. Um, Anthony says, I'm watching the new Dexter. It's awesome. Oh, yeah, I don't know. I watched the first few seasons of the original episodes of Dexter, and I never got around to all the stuff that's come after, and there's a lot. I'm a Trauma fan. Yeah, I'm a Trauma fan too. Much love to Uncle Lloyd. Early on, this is kind of an important scene here where he's writing this check to, pay for milk and or get his cream for his White Russians. And he sees George Bush talking about the war in Iraq, and he says, "This aggression will not stand." So then later on, Lebowski throws it out at somebody like, "Hey, man, this aggression will not stand, man." And if you pay attention to him throughout the whole movie, he sort of parrots other people. He doesn't have too many original thoughts. Like he pretty much just whatever Walter says, whatever Maude says, he just kind of repeats it back. Coitus? So he comes into his house and these two thugs grab him and throw him in the toilet. And you see right away that it's going to be like an absurd movie where the dude, pulls him back up from the toilet and he's like, uh, is it down there? He's like, I don't know. Let me take one more look. And this whole, what's this? And he holds up the bowling ball and he says, obviously, you're not a golfer. As you can see, I've seen this movie way too many times. And like the first time I watched it, it didn't ring with me. It was entertaining. I enjoyed it. It was funny enough. But then after a friend wanted to watch it, and I sat there kind of watching them dumbfounded and me laughing at, things that made more sense the second and third time. That's when it really rung true with me. And then, after the third time and the fourth time, and you appreciate like the whole cinematography and everything, the movie itself is like amazingly shot. It's the Coen Brothers. That's what they do, man. He's like, your wife's spending money all over town. My wife? Did you see a ring on my finger? The toilet seat's up. It's like right there. I stand corrected. He is apparently good at solving mysteries. And then there's the classic Lebowski sitting on the toilet with the sunglasses down and the hair in the face just covered in toilet water. And it's the dark comedy of it all. Like he just keeps at every turn, the people around him just make everything so much more complicated than it needs to be. So the whole point of this first scene is they come in, say, you owe us money or your wife owes us money. And then because they're mad because they went to the wrong house and it's not the right guy they're supposed to be hassling, they decide to get mad at him and pee on his rug. And that's the like starting point for the whole movie. The old classic, that old trope. Now we're at the bowling alley during the credit scene, and you can see some of these crazy shots where like the bowling ball's coming directly at the camera and the close-ups of the like people smoking cigarettes and stuff that I don't know, the Coen brothers have an amazing eye. Anthony says he's up to 2015 in his memoirs. Nice. And there's Sam Elliott as the stranger. Him and that mustache. That mustache is glorious, isn't it? Have any of y'all watched the Fargo TV series? It was on FX, but then now it's like floating around on Hulu. They go to this bowling alley in one of the scenes. It's if you're not familiar with the show, basically they take just kind of the essence of the Coen brothers and put it all together, right? So in one of the episodes they end up at this bowling alley and you see the same stars and everything in the back. Um, if you're a fan of Coen Brothers stuff, definitely check out Fargo. That's a great show. It's not by the Coen Brothers, but it's by people who are paying ultimate homage to the Coens. This whole Bob Dylan stuff. This soundtrack is awesome. I bought this soundtrack after this movie came out. The Dylan stuff, um, sorry, Steve Buscemi came on. As soon as he comes on the screen, he's a star. He like the whole movie stops and it becomes his movie. Like you saw me get mesmerized, like, ooh, Buscemi. Donnie, shut the fuck up. Donnie, shut the spork up. Speaking of Spork T-shirts now available at the Night Owl Movie Talk store. Link in the top of the chat. Feel free to get yourself a Spork shirt, get yourself a Spork mug. I don't care what the Spork you do. And then here's Goodman. Goodman, yeah, now the movie becomes his. Goodman, like he gets to just chew up the scenery and be so big and do that yelly thing that he does. Like when he yells, he sounds like a bear. So to like hear these people argue where Donnie says nothing and just sits there confused, and the dude just sort of like puts up resistance while at the same time later on mimicking everything he says. Yeah, I don't know. The relationship between Walter Dude and Donnie is kind of amazing. I wish there was a prequel to this movie. Speaking of sequels and or prequels to this movie, there's a film called Jesus Rolls or The Jesus Rolls. I think it's Jesus Rolls. Whatever. John Turturro wrote and directed it. It's basically a remake of an old French film, but it's a story of Jesus from this movie. It's a kind of a sequel, spin-off, whatever you want to call it. It's got a decent cast. John Hamm. Who else turns up in it? Bobby Cannavale. Is that how you say his name? Yeah, sure. Pete Davidson. I don't know, a bunch of Audrey Tattoo, because like I say, it's a French film. But good. Turturro does a good job of like he wrote and directed it. Even though, like I said, it's a bit of an adaptation, and it's a well-made movie. It's just hard to get behind Jesus. 8-year-olds, dude. Anthony says he's up to 2015 in his memoirs. For those of you who don't know, my friend Anthony's been writing all sorts of. He's been writing his memoirs of his life, and we've been tracking the growth of it. And to see him get this far is rather amazing. It's been months and months, but he's killing it. So here's the whole classic. He's explaining how he peed in his rug. Dude's getting all mad, and he's like, you need to go talk to the other Lebowski. Fuck yeah, man. Spork, yeah, man. The little Lebowski Urban Achievers. Here's Brant Philip C. Hoffmore. He like Hoffman. He being sort of, I don't know, the hype man for the big Lebowski, as it were. He's amazing. Like anybody who aspires to be a baller wishes to have like this guy. Before people come in and talk to me, you just go in there and explain how great I am, point out all my achievements, and it's just funny to see. Our Lebowski, Jeff Lebowski, who's apparently based on a real person that the Coens knew. Like, but the real Big Lebowski or Jeff Lebowski is a kind of a heavy set dude, but he was into bowling. He was always high, had the long hair and stuff. But yeah, there is a real the dude floating around in the world. As you can tell, I've immersed myself in the Lebowski culture. Um, I mentioned earlier I'm through some online thing where you fill out a form and you get ordained. I am legitimately a member of the Church of Lebowski. I'm a dudist priest. Um, It's supposedly some states, it's like you're allowed to get tax deductions or whatever. I've never really had the balls to mess with the IRS regarding being a member of the Church of Lebowski. Pardon me, a minor earthquake there. Geesh. I'm going to take these sunglasses off. I'm going to lose my robe for a little bit because I am in Tampa, Florida. It is currently 12:18 in the morning. Welcome to you hanging out. Um, and because it's Tampa, it gets a little hot. So wearing the robe, I don't want the air conditioner on to bother the sound because, my keen insight into one of the great works of the 90s. Um, I shouldn't have to have a rumbling motor in the background. How dare you? So here's old buddy, the Big Lebowski. See, that's the whole gag that they're both named Jeffrey Lebowski, but the other guy is the Big Lebowski. He's the important one. And this is just the dude or his dudeness or El Duderino if you're not into the whole brevity thing. Yeah, far out, man. Yeah, the Coens have a tendency to use the same character actors over and over in the stuff that they do. So just to see their little world pop up, like when Turturro pops up, you're like, oh yeah, well of course it's a Coen Brothers movie. Who else is going to be here? Same with Goodman. Um, let me know in the chat, comments, whatever below, if you've ever seen this film, if this is one of your favorites, you have no idea what the hell's going on in it, you don't understand why other people like it. What are your thoughts? Your thoughts, share them with me. Let me know what you're thinking. Um, yeah, here's the classic line. I'm not Mr. Lebowski. You're Mr. Lebowski. I'm the dude. So like that's what you call me. That is dudeness or duder or El Duderino, if you're into the whole brevity thing. All right, so that's enough of me just constantly saying quotes of this movie to you poor people while I watch it. Um, that's the thing with it. It just grows on you, and so many of the lines are so clever and funny, and they're subtle satires of things you would see in one of these like complicated old school detective movies. I can't think of the one. There's one from the 70s with Elliot Gould. What's that one called? The Big Whatever. If you're in the chat or the comments, let me know. Let's see. Big. Is he in the big hit? No, that's the big hit. The big hit with Marky Mark is not that type of movie, but shout out to it nonetheless. Is he in the big sleep? No, that can't be. Equals Bogart version. So he is in a big sleep remake. I thought it was a different one. Never mind. I apologize. The Long Goodbye. That's what it is. Yes, that's what it is. It's a Philip Marlowe. So once again, we had to play Don Does Research in Front of You. I love when we play Don Does Research in Front of You. Condolences, the bum's lost. This movie, let's see what the budget was on this one. This one, when in that was very concise. I apologies. Uh, throughout the late 80s, the Coen brothers had like a real string of establishing themselves as awesome filmmakers. They did um, uh, uh, Raising Arizona and I'm drawing a blank on the damn one with Frances McDormand, that first one. But later on they moved into the 90s and they had Hudsucker Proxy and basically everything they did kind of had like a cult following. Miller's Crossing is in there. Um, but this one, what I wanted to find out was after Fargo, that was like their big hit. People finally understood their jokes and kind of got their speed and their like their theme, their tone of their films, I should say. Um, so after Fargo, they made this, and this feels like kind of a spiritual follow-up to Fargo. Like they're totally not connected, but like here's Peter Stormare, mentioned Fargo, and there he is, he pops up. And like I said, Buscemi's in this, and so here's the part with Bunny Lebowski. Sorry, I got distracted. This is another scene where it's hard to not get distracted. Where he meets Bunny Lebowski, the wife that's owes money all over town, and it's played by Tara Reid. And Tara Reid had like an interesting career. She kind of, I don't know, paralleled Lindsay Lohan almost, sort of. Like she was very popular for a minute, and it looked like she was going to be a rising star. And then she spent a lot of time being like a Hollywood party girl, and it sort of crashed her career. So it's funny that she plays Maude or Bunny Lebowski. There's Donnie wearing a Ray shirt. What I wanted to see was what the Big Lebowski's budget was, because as I was saying, the Fargo came out before this, and Fargo got all this like critical acclaim. You know, it was nominated for all these Oscars, yada yada yada. Um, so because there's follow up to it, wasn't like a big studio movie where they cashed in and made a bunch of loot off of their success for the Oscars. They made this. So I wondered what their budget was. Like it seems like coming off the Academy Award, this would be a big one, but apparently not. Big Lebowski budget. Why am I not finding it? 15 million US. Okay, that's at the time that was not bad. What do you suppose the box office was? 46.7 million worldwide. So that makes me wonder how much though in home media this movie must have made. The let's see. No, they don't have anything on there for how much money it's made. You would think with all the varying different types of like I own like three different versions of this. There's like a bare bones version. I have like a nice director's cut version with commentary and all these little special features and stuff. And then I've seen other funky ones, the dude edition. So just that alone, you would think selling the rights for people to make new versions of this movie. So here's where Walter pulls a gun on Smokey. I've seen this movie so many times. That's one of the things about this too. As I was saying, it's a hangout movie. The plot is really hard to follow. Um, you know, when you do follow it, you understand it. It's sort of simple in its own way. But this is more just a character study, right? You're hanging out with the dude. You're hanging out with Walter. So when Smokey wanders up, it's like, yeah, I've known some Smokies. Been a Smokey a few times myself. Let me know if you're a big fan of bowling in the comments or the chat. I always liked bowling, but it's like a novelty sport. It was never a thing that was like, oh, I'm going to go like 3 times a week. Like, bowling's fun, but I don't know. Yeah, it's a novelty sport. It's like miniature golf. My apologies to angry bowlers everywhere. I like those shirts though, and the shoes. The shoes are underrated. But the bowling alley, if you think about it from a visual standpoint, it's a great place to shoot a film because it has all these long lines and all these like symmetrical things with the pins, and then it has all this crazy neon all over the walls and stuff. So every shot, like even here, they're outside the bowling alley talking, and to the left of the screen where it's usually blank area and bokeh'd out, you can sort of see like these pretty flashes of color, little fireworks going off around them. John Goodman's amazing in this and in everything and in life in general. Just looking at him right now, it's like just one of the best. Let's do a quick look at John Goodman's filmography because he's one of those ones. Let me know right now in the chat or the comments what's your favorite John Goodman film because he's nonstop amazing. 10 Cloverfield Lane, Argo, Barton Fink, Flight. I mean, I think most people know him as the dad from Roseanne. In America, there was a Roseanne Barr at a sitcom, and he was the father on there. Um, Hong Skull Island, Transformers, um, 10 Cloverfield Lane, I mentioned, the Trumbo, Monuments Men, Hangover Part 3. I didn't know he was in the Hangover Part 3. Flight, Argo. John Goodman be working. How many? 176 credits. Let's see what your first is. I know my friend Bones, shout out to Mr. Bones HPS. Um, he loves when I do people's filmographies. He's like, it's the most boring part of your show. Would you please stop? I'm like, nope, nope, never gonna. He was in Chud. Oh yeah, he's the cop in the diner in Chud. I should have known that. By the way, you can watch Chud on this channel. Go to the live section of my home YouTube Night Owl Movie Talk homepage there, and in the live section, you'll see a watch along of Chud. Otherwise, there's a playlist of all our watch alongs we've done. We've done almost 90 here together. Always have a fun time hanging out, talking to folks in the chat. Sea of Love. Yeah, he was good in Sea of Love. Moonlighting, Arachnophobia. Most people know him from Arachnophobia. King Ralph, right? Shout out to King Ralph. Barton Fink, The Babe. That's right. I forgot he was probably the best Babe Ruth. Hudsucker Proxy, fantastic film. If you haven't seen Hudsucker Proxy, another one like this, weird. The first time you watch it, maybe not even funny, but the third, the fourth time, hilarious. Fallen, he's good in Fallen. If you haven't seen that with Denzel, Big Lebowski, Blues Brothers 2000. All right, we all make mistakes. He was in Dirty Work, uncredited. Shout out to Dirty Work. Um, Coyote Ugly, and that's enough of John Goodman. All right, I've made you suffer through listening to the work of John Goodman, but shout out to him. He's rather amazing, isn't he? So here's where the dude gets summoned back to the Big Lebowski's estate, and he explains where this whole dumb plot gets even more complicated. Bunny's been kidnapped, and the kidnappers want, the money dropped off, so they wanted someone who had nothing to do with anybody anywhere. So they called this guy back to have him handle all this expensive money. It's ridiculous and absurd. But like I said, this is just out of the Humphrey Bogart movies, where Bogey'd be some down on his luck detective, and he's called into some rich people's house, and they're all eccentric and talking weird. Like Maude Lebowski is very much out of one of those old black and white Bogey films. This in general, I think we talk about sometimes movies that could be watched in black and white. Like certain films just have a vibe to them. Killer Clowns from Outer Space is a perfect, movie to turn the saturation down on your TV and watch in black and white. I think this works as a black and white movie. Actually, I might try that sometime. Keep an eye out for me watching The Big Lebowski again some other time in black and white. So this to show how little the dude cares about whatever it is this dude's rambling about because he doesn't like him. In the middle of their big conversation of how his wife got kidnapped and all this, he's like, "Is it cool if I do a J, man? You can't smoke a joint in my big giant palatial estate." But then again, he's in the wheelchair. You can't stop him. Philip Seymour Hoffman's a sad deal. He in every movie he plays like a nerdy, kind of square, dorky sort of dude. He died of a heroin overdose, I believe. Like when he passed away, that was one of those like, "Nuh-uh, him? I can't believe it." Here they get the ransom note, and they read it in Peter Stormare's accent. The no funny business. This is anyways. As I was talking about with this movie, I'm always fascinated by it because it moves so slow and it takes its time. But then the characters you meet, like I say, are an archetype of, these old school black and white, complicated. Raymond Chandler was like the famous writer of these, pulp novels. There's a deep cut for you. This movie, I think, it didn't quite meet the balance that I think big time successful films are looking for. Said balance would be, did it make the audience happy? Which I think this one does. It has a cult following. There's a whole bunch of people who love it. It's replayed in the theater several times. I've meant to go and check it out on the big screen just on the principle of it. Um, but then did it also make the critics happy? And the critics loved it and think it's interesting and cool. The problem is the audience found it on home video, so it never made that big box office money, and that's what you want. You want like a balance of good box office and critical acclaim. So the critics dug it and it has like a cult audience and it has a loyal following forever, but it just never had that big box office boom to be, I don't know, ultimate blockbuster type movie. Here's Turturro. This whole scene's sort of amazing. It stops and it becomes a music video of what a weird purple creep he is. Like I say, I recently watched the Jesus Rolls. That was a movie I heard about them making. I'm like, oh, they're making a sequel to The Big Lebowski. Why would anybody anywhere do that? And then flipping through Tubi, I see Jesus licking a bowling ball and figuring, oh, that must be it. So I checked it out. It's decent. They explain how Jesus isn't technically like. The problem is, if see, look at me stumbling around and trying not to aggravate the YouTube censors, because of the the crimes that Jesus has supposedly committed. The Jesus Rolls movie explains like how he didn't really, it was sort of a misunderstanding, comical speaking. He didn't really expose himself. Uh, yeah, look at me stumble around that, trying not to say the magic words that make demonetization and all that show up. Um, but yeah, the movie itself is so, I don't know. It's for big fans of the Lebowski cult type. I think they would dig it, but everybody else would think it's a total piece of garbage. But it is currently on Tubi, so if you're a fan of Lebowski, be sure to check out the Jesus Rolls. Yeah, here's where they show Turturro when he first got to LA. He had to go around from house to house. But the Jesus Rolls, I think it's a prequel to the Lebowski. I don't know, but Turturro plays it like 20 years later, so I don't even know. He looks crazy in it because he's so much older, even though it's supposed to be younger. Speaking of sequels to this, at the very end, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Big Lebowski, you don't need to hear me talk about it and why it's fascinating and great. But it's one of those movies you kind of need to see once, so you just understand, all the references and all the times people bring it up and everything. Sorry, I keep getting distracted by my closed captioning is doing funkiness and the words going crooked and backwards, or else I'm going dyslexic on air. I didn't think that was going to happen. Hold on, let me fix that. All right, there. I should be less distracted. Hopefully, we'll see. There's the classic. Shut the spork up, Donnie. Oh, as I was saying, the sequel. Sorry, I was Jesus was polishing his balls, man. Um, in the sequel, I think they should make is now at the very end. Spoiler alert! They say that Lebowski. I happen to know there's a little Lebowski coming. All right, so the movie was made in '98, so now we're this far along. It's literally conceivable to have a movie about Lebowski's kid. I would watch, whether it be a boy or a girl. That would be an interesting movie. You could have a girl Lebowski, and it would make sense. So Coen Brothers, if you're out there, same with Kill Bill. Remember that little girl in the beginning of Kill Bill? It's been enough time now. Where Why doesn't she have her spin-off movie, though? The Vivica Fox's daughter, the one that escapes, and Uma even said she may come back and get her revenge. It's like, okay, it's been long enough. Give it to me. In this world where they abuse every property possible, why don't they give me the stuff I would actually like to see? No, we're going to make our fifth Smurf movie. So there's the classic rug. He as I mentioned, his rug got peed on, so he stole a rug from the Big Lebowski. Um, and now he's hanging out on it. He wakes up and this guy punches him in the face. There's Maude and Bokeem Woodbine, and then this dude, I can't remember what his name is, but that's Madonna's baby daddy. That's all I remember him as. The other guy with Maude and Bokeem Woodbine is Lord's daddy, maybe. I don't know. If you're a big Madonna fan, you just know old buddy's one of Madonna's baby daddy. So here's this strange thing where he gets punched in the face and it goes into this wild dream sequence. And it's this like perfect excuse to do like this crazy, him literally flying, swimming through the air where Maud is on a magic carpet. Sick or treat, you can actually enjoy the movie without grasping the storyline. Oh, yeah, that's like your opinion, man. Awesome. Thank you. Welcome, Sick or Treat. I don't know if you've been here before, but it's nice to have you. Um, yeah, that's part of the beauty of the dude is he just sort of flows with everything. I mentioned earlier, like if you watch the movie throughout and just pay attention to his dialogue, it's almost always repeated dialogue, something somebody else said, very little of his own thoughts. John, I hope all is well. Who am I missing? Oh, it's Eric. There's Eric. How are you? Nice to see you, my friend. Welcome. Thanks for dropping in. Eric, are you a Lebowski fan? Yeah, two boys and their scary pops. Why is it sick or treat now? I'm confused, and I missed you, Eric. I found you again on Instagram, I think. I was like, "Oh, I've been I've been putting out shorts every day, but I've been slacking on getting on the live streams. I need to get on more of them. That's how I connect with you guys best and how I get to see what my friends are up to and get the news of the world." My boys don't do videos. Class. Gotcha. Well, I'm glad you were here, Eric. It's nice to see you. Eric's the coolest if you guys aren't familiar with him. I'm trying to gear towards horror and Halloween. Gotcha. I'm getting excited for Halloween myself. Uh, that's part of the reason I wanted to watch some of these movies. I know coming up once we reach October, most of the stuff I'll be watching and reviewing will all be horror. Um, although I find horror is good all year round, but something about a Halloween time is, it's a magical time of year. You can see me feel weird. I'm currently living in Florida. And Halloween's different here. I'm used to back home where the trees turn, I used to live up north in Wisconsin and the trees turn colors and, the kids go trick or treating and it's all very Rockwellian or whatever. But, down here, like, most folks don't speak English. A lot of it's warm. So most costumes have to be something that isn't like make your kids sweat to death. It's just a different vibe for Halloween down here. So I have to create a lot of home Halloween. We just went on Saturday to tour the Stu Macher house from Scream. It was Stu Macher. Shout out to Matthew Lillard. Just watch out for the ice cream trucks, right? I think I mentioned this before. The guy who lives a block over, he has an old converted hearse that's an ice cream truck. Sort of amazing. I've never seen him driving it around. I just look at that hearse parked in his driveway and I see the decals on the side. It looks like a total killer van, like free candy. So here's where the whole plot now has become that because Bunny's been kidnapped and they want somebody completely detached from this whole situation with Bunny and her people she owes money to, etc. That they call the dude back. So the dude's supposed to go take this money and give it to the kidnappers, and Walter commandeers the situation and takes over, and he's now driving, and the two of them, of course, screw this up. It's a ringer. It's my undies, the whites. I've never heard the whites said so dirty. Like every time he says it, it kind of makes me want to shower. Like laundry day, my undies, the whites. Patrick is here. Welcome, Patrick. Yeah. Nice to see you, my friend. Oh, Patrick says, yeah. Welcome. Um, yeah, we were just discussing the finer points of what a great film The Big Lebowski is. Patrick, are you a Lebowski head? Are you a member of the Church of Lebowski? Or are you like some folks who think this movie's super overrated? I don't know why my mouth didn't V there. Overrated? It was overrated. One of the things also is this era of music. I always liked Credence, and I never liked the Eagles. And it was my whole life I was like that. So then when that's exactly how the dude is, I had like a personal connection to him. I was like, yeah, I don't really dig the Eagles either, but I do dig Credence. I think it's a certain type of person. I don't know. Well, Patrick says he's never seen The Big Lebowski. Yeah, I kind of mentioned earlier when I was talking about this. You kind of don't need to see this to sit here and talk about it. It's such a complicated movie. The plot is it's non-existent. Like it's very complicated and pointless. There is no like traditional MacGuffin that the heroes are trying to get back. I mean, the MacGuffin is the dude's rug. But even then, we're also trying to figure out the mystery of what happened to Bunny Lebowski and also overcome what exactly is Maude Lebowski's deal and why she's such a mystery lady. Jeffrey, love me. She speaks about the vagina without even batting an eye. So the reason I brought up Credence is that this is the part where they throw the ringer off the bridge and Credence is playing "Run Through the Jungle." Later on, when the dude's car gets stolen, he mentions that the tape deck with a tape of Credence got stolen, and the one of the cops is like, "I wouldn't expect to get that tape deck back." And the other goes, "Order Credence." So here, Walter also reveals that along with a ringer, he also brought an Uzi. Good for him. There, the dude's car gets shot up. The dude's car gets beat up. Um, in these movies, like you know, kind of classic detective noir, like Chinatown's the one that comes to mind right away. The hero always kind of gets beat up. Like Jack Nichols has the whole thing where his nose gets slit, and I don't know, any sort of weird, dark detective noir story that the hero sort of gets his ass kicked and shows it throughout the movie. Um, but in this one, his car seems to take all the abuse. Like it gets shot several times, it gets stolen. A vagrant uses it as a bathroom. Let's see here. I just picked up an Eagles concert DVD this week. Yeah, I don't know. They're never my thing. I think I had a dude who I was really used to get on my nerves when I was a kid who really loved Hotel California, like one of my nemesis, something. So to this day, I was like, stupid song. Although I often quote it, I'll get caught somewhere and I'll say, "Oh, you can check in, you can check out, but you can never leave." You should watch some Every Which Way But Loose or Better Off Dead or maybe The Outsiders. I've watched all, well, Better Off Dead and The Outsiders uh, with my wife probably within the last month or so. Every Which Way But Loose. I never was one of my, comedy Clint wasn't always my thing. I like mean Clint, but Better Off Dead. Surprisingly, to someone who's never seen it, the comedy didn't translate to her. Like every line, I was like, huh, $2, and she's like, you can't get a newspaper for $2. The Outsiders. I think everybody loves The Outsiders. Stay gold, Pony Boy. Did you ever see them in concert? Credence? No, no. Um, but I did work at a minor league baseball stadium, and I heard John Fogerty's center field like 85 million times. So I feel like I've seen them in concert. Put me in, coach. I'm ready to play. Never saw the Eagles live. Yeah, I mean, they were so popular in the 90s. They had that resurgence where MTV did all those unplugged things, and the Eagles unplugged was like huge. That was, I don't know, that was all over the place. I couldn't avoid the damn Eagles for a minute there. And that's about the time this came out, why it was extra funny. Like, oh, I hate the Sporking Eagles, man. Ever see The Postman Always Ring Twice? Jack Nicholson and Jessica Lange. There you go. It's a classic noir one. Um, that one was creepy when I was a kid. My parents had it on, and then they made me cover my eyes during like one of the heavy duty sex scenes. So I remember hearing sex but not seeing it. So whenever I think of The Postman Rings Twice, I always think of it as like a Basic Instinct type movie. Put me in, coach. Right? I'm ready to play. Center field was played when we had Little League World Series when I was younger. Yeah, that's like I say. I used to do videography for a minor league baseball team, and just the every damn time was center field. But it makes the crowd clap, you know, very summertimey. So here they've botched, you know, getting rid of the doing the exchange for the money for Bunny. Um, so they decide, F it, let's go bowling. And this is where Walter posits the idea that it's okay they screwed this up because she kidnapped herself. So once again, the story just becomes more complicated because the people around him control him. Like he just sort of goes along with stuff. So now they come out thinking that the money that they were supposed to hand over in the ransom exchange was in the car, and the car's been stolen. Like I say, this car takes an ass whooping. I would like to see more Lebowski cars. People drive the Batmobile and the Starsky and Hutch car and stuff. I'd like to see a Lebowski car drive by. I probably have. I just didn't recognize it. I thought it was an old piece of crap beater. It's a, celebrity car in disguise, the Lebowski mobile. Bull Durham was going. Yeah, I enjoy Bull Durham. That's another one. Like I said, I like to show a lot of the big movies and quote unquote important movies during the course of my life to Mrs. Night Owl. and she's a music person, so I all sorts of stuff I get to show her. Um, but Bull Durham was one I was debating. I was like, she's not a baseball person, but I think Bull Durham translates. I think whether you like baseball or not, you can enjoy Bull Durham. Thoughts? Anyone? Thoughts? King Kong was a good one. The the new one or the Jeff Bridges one? You thinking from the 70s? Is that what I'm assuming we're talking about? Hello, Don. Hello, Sean. Hey, what's up, Sean? Nice to see you, my friend. Our buddy Sean, previously Blue Digital, is now Cinephile World Order. He has a new channel. Well, it's been around for a while now. It's still new to me. But anyways, be sure to check out Sean's channel. Subscribe. Sean does movie watch-alongs and commentaries. Has a fun, cool crowd that hangs out with him. Sean's the man. Sean, pardon me for not making contact with the camera right now. I was watching Lebowski get interrogated by the cops. Oh, it's a double crime. Yeah, just Lebowski, just the way how uncomfortable the dude is having cops in his house. He's like, and he's got that old school brick phone, like the bag phone. My aunt had one of those, and like whenever we would borrow her car, she would let us take the phone with us. It's like the cellular block with the phone on top of it. Hers was a bag phone. You put it in a bag and carried it. So Lebowski got the bag phone. Oh, here's Maude. Love Lebowski. Yeah, Lebowski's the shit. Like, so Sean's a pro Lebowski. I figured he would be. Ever seen a movie called Angel Heart? Yeah, I love Angel Heart. Robert De Niro, Mickey Rourke, Lisa Bonet, is that her name? Um, yeah, that one's a crazy one. We may actually watch that one on the channel at some point. That's a wild one from the '80s. That's a good sexy one too. If you need every now and then the poor woman has to sit through all these like total recalls and robocops and stuff. Every now and then I like to mix in the basic instinct or the angel hearts for her. So here's the crazy scene where Jeff Big Lebowski, Little Lebowski, damn it. Anyways, the dude goes and sees Maude and meets her for the first time. And we see, her doing her art. And it's like this kind of Jackson Pollock crazy, like splatter paint deal. But her work's been described as very vaginal. And he's just in awe. Like his mouth is like totally agape. He can't believe it's like, let me get this straight. You fly by naked and splatter paint. Sean says this influenced me to try White Russian. Yeah, exactly. I feel bad for bartenders everywhere because they all know is when somebody comes in and gets a White Russian, like what you've been watching Big Lebowski, huh? But they're delicious. Getting drunk off chocolate milk is kind of a fun thing to do. Um, they'll give you a headache, so you got to be careful. But yeah, God bless a White Russian. I went on many White Russian kicks in my early 20s, around the time this was out on home video. Um, Hell, trick or treat. I mean, hello, hello. Anyways, over the classic American Graffiti. I was just actually, that's a weird one for you to bring up. I was going through Netflix and putting stuff aside. Like, that's always one of my favorite hobbies to do is where you go through a streaming service and just add stuff to your queue. It's like, I'm not going to watch it now, but I just like throwing it in my cart and keeping it for when I do want to watch it. And when I was going through Netflix, I saw American Graffiti. And I was thinking, like, it's been so long since I watched it. I didn't really love it the first time I saw it, but that's totally another like hangout movie. Like it's kind of the dazed and confused of that generation. Um, it's not so much about the plot of anything and what anybody's up to. It's just about hanging out with the people in that movie and enjoying that world. And hey, I know a girl like that, or oh, I know a dude just like that. So here's where Maud explains that the rug that the dude stole from the Big Lebowski isn't actually doesn't belong to the Big Lebowski because she gave it to her mother as a gift and it has sentimental value. So when he stole it, he didn't steal it from the Big Lebowski, he stole it from her. So she wants that rug, but if he'll recover that money that was supposedly lost to pay to Bunny, then he can take that money and buy any rug he wants. So it's like 100,000. Sorry, log jamming is on. Yes or no? Log Jammin', the best movie porn parody ever. I know how to fix the cable. That's what I sent me. I'm an expert. The plot is ludicrous. I bet you can guess what happens next. He fixes the cable. Uh, I know an artist who paints with her blood. Oh, I actually Patrick has all the cool folks on. If you guys aren't familiar with Have Cheetah Will View, he does all the coolest interviews. He's talked to so many folks of all over the horror and movie making spectrum, and folks who everything. So if you're into the type of shit that we're all into here, be sure you check out his channel. Like, so the idea that someone who paints with blood, it's like that tracks. Out of anybody I knew, I would say Patrick probably knows somebody who paints with blood. I actually like Goodman Russian, but I haven't in a while. Yeah, they're complicated. I think we made ours with half and half, not cream. But just having the ingredients around is a pain because they're untraditional ingredients for a lot of stuff. I don't make too much other crazy drinks. Every now and then I go for a good cheap beer. Yeah, Maude is directly out of like those old black and white. Like she looks like just straight up somebody from the Maltese Falcon. From the people you delivered it to. If you successfully do so, I will compensate you to the tune of 10% of the recovered sum. Bones or clams or whatever you people call them. Yeah, that's totally just like somebody bogey would run into. Look, Dame, I don't know who you think you're talking to. I don't know. That was the worst bogey ever. I think I just got canceled. The artist who paints with blood was so cool. I bet she was. But I've seen you have oh goodness, I can't think of her name. I've seen you the lady who goes around all the different haunted houses and does reviews for them. You've had all sorts of cool directors on. You had Corin Nemec on. It's like Parker Lewis Can't Lose. It's on Patrick's channel. Yeah, you've had a myriad of awesome friends, people on that I'm jealous of, my friend. So if you're not familiar with Patrick's channel, please check that out. Here's Dom Herrera. He's like this. He was this comedian in the '80s who sort of middled, during the heyday of Comedy Channel and Comedy Central or whatever. They used to show stand-up comedies. Dom Herrera was always on there. So to see him turn up in this is funny. Since then, his career is kind of, I don't know, fizzled out, or he's got his own audience, I should say. But he's perfect in this role as the limo driver. But other than that, I can't complain. Oh, this is a classic scene. He gets out of the limo with the the White Russian, and then the other thug bodyguard grabs him. The Big Lebowski's bodyguard grabs him and throws him in the back of the Lebowski's limo. And the whole time he's got the White Russian and he balances it all throughout the whole wrestling match and everything. And he lands in the back of the limo still with him plenty to drink. It's like that's proper. I'm chatting with a cryptid investigator tomorrow. Oh, I've been a cryptid investigator, my friend. I may have to check that out. It's a crazy life. That's how I met Mrs. Night Owl. I checked into a hotel while I was out chasing lizard people and whatnot. And she was working behind the counter, and the lady fell in love with the weird man who was out chasing big feet. So shout out to cryptid investigations. You may find love. I went looking for Bigfoot and I found love. So here's where the dude explains to the Big Lebowski the whole concept that maybe Bunny kidnapped herself, and all he does is completely regurgitate everything Walter said. Like he even uses his words and everything. Given all the nature, this could be a lot more complex. Maybe I hadn't thought of that. I actually enjoyed the interview with the actress who was in Breaking Bad. Hell yeah. She actually came to our channel for an interview also. Oh, which actress who was in Breaking Bad? What character did she play? Like I said, me and Mrs. Night have been watching stuff. So one of the things we worked in was Breaking Bad. So it's pretty fresh in my mind within the last like 2 months. Let me guess. Was it one of Pinkman's girlfriends? She owes money all over town, including to known pornographers. And that's cool. That's cool. I'm saying she needs money, man. She's got to feed the monkey. So, see, there now, when they show him again, his drink is like way more full. That one that he didn't spill in the way in the car. Now in these cuts, he's got like a full drink. Like, what are you, Coens? Editing bloopers, cinema sins. Uh, she was in the coffee shop. The rich lady or the waitress? What was the rich lady's name? I can't even remember. So here now, the dude is trying to get the money. He's trying to get 20,000 instead of 10,000, and that's when he tells him. Here he pulls out what he's like. Hands him a Manila envelope, and he's like, "Oh, a check. That's cool. All right." He opens it up, and that's when Bunny's toe falls out. But is it Bunny's toe? Because I can get you a toe with polish by 4 tomorrow. We interviewed David Thornton. Oh, we interviewed David Howard Thornton and Ari Lemon, waitress. Nice, nice. David Howard Thornton. I'm jealous. Yeah, I miss Eric. Eric's awesome. I'm glad you're here, buddy. Any further harm visited upon Bunny will be visited upon yours tenfold, sir. By God, I will not abide another toe. Ah, oops, hold on a second. My battery's running low. Stay with me. I'm still here. Just got unplugged. Oh my God. There we go. And I'm back, I think. Wow, that was a real debacle. The apparently the cable got unplugged on the back of my laptop, and then it also came undone from the box. So when I plugged it back in, it didn't really plug back in. Forget it. Technical difficulties. Sorry. My apologies. Thank you for being here. Um, the owl has landed, right? Sheesh, that turned into a real debacle. The critical low battery thing came up, and I was like, what's going on here? Technical difficulties. I missed the whole scene where the Walter got kicked out of the diner. Well, they tried to kick him out of the diner, but he had free speech. You want a toe? I'll get you a toe with polish. So here's the part where Uli Kunkel and his gang of thugs with a flea is part of them from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. What a strange cameo. It's like, why the F is Flea there? Um, so here's where he throws the ferret in the bathtub with him. A nice marmot. Let's see here. Patrick, yeah, it's always worth a shot to reach out and ask. I figured, yeah, that's my buddy Gareth, Video Tasties, always has fantastic guests on. Yeah, but I know he's out there hustling. Same with Patrick. You gotta reach out to folks, gotta see who's interested in doing self-promotion. But you also have to be a good interviewer and a good welcome host, to have some folks on. It's a lot of trust on their part to come to some internet thing. Who knows who's gonna act like a jackass? The black screen Lebowski is struck, right? Just reach out and ask. And sometimes surprising who says yes. Flea has been in a few films. Yeah, I mean, Flea in general, the Chili Peppers are very LA, so obviously they're floating around. They got courtside tickets to Lakers games and stuff. So it doesn't surprise me that him and Anthony Kiedis turn up and stuff. Aren't they both in Point Break? But Flea in general has that look with the gap teeth and the kind of crazy eyes. My favorite Flea cameo is in Young MC's "Bust a Move" music video. It's like, why is this guy with the stuffed animal pants rocking out? Hello, YouTube didn't tell me you were live. Bones had to tell me. Effing YouTube is the second time this month they've done this to me. Oh, Bones didn't even say hi. I see how it is. Bones hiding out, huh? I don't know. He's probably watching on the TV. Sometimes Bones does that. So, Bones, if you're here, hi. I love you. I miss you. Um, yeah, I don't blame YouTube. I wouldn't promote me either. Gareth is top drawer. Yeah, Sir Gareth is quite an awesome dude. I think we all appreciate Gareth. He's a very nice man and he works very hard. So if anybody deserves a million eyeballs, it's my buddy Gareth. He's fantastic. Bones must be lurking. Yeah, Bones is a lurker. Like I say, I know a lot of times he watches on like Fire Stick or whatever, like he watches on the TV. So it's a pain in the butt to comment or to interact because those are, the buttons and whatnot. So here's the part where he's like, so these German dudes comes in, and then dude's like, sporking Nazis. He's like, they were Nazis? He's like, well, they were German. Donnie drinking an orange slice. That's very 1990s. Somebody somewhere thought, you know what? We need like a competitor to Sprite, but we could also go orange with it. Yeah, the bowling alley is just an amazing, like I was mentioning earlier, just there's so many lines in it. So that, you can all these shots here, like where they're sitting at the bar and behind them, there's all these leading lines going back and all these crazy lines to do the rule of thirds and all this. Very symmetrical. Bones was live last week and you didn't tell me. When I looked at my notifications for him, YouTube didn't list him as being live and has done that same with you. Yeah, Mrs. Night Owl also has me as, notifications when something happens. And sometimes I'll post stuff and then like 3 hours later she'll get the ding on her phone. Like we'll be sitting there together and she's like, oh, apparently you posted a video. So yeah, I don't know. YouTube's notification system, and that frustrates me to begin with. Like I'd really just like the classic, just give me everybody I subscribe to in order. And then if somebody keeps making stuff I don't want to watch, I'll unsubscribe. But YouTube constantly messing with the algorithm and trying to show me stuff and not letting me see people who I want to see is frustrating at times. There's the dude's famous sweater. It's very old west. It's a no, not that's not the word I'm looking for. Mountainy. It's very country, but at the same time, it's got a mountain vibe to it. And here's where he meets the narrator. Like I said, the narrator is awesome because it's why so bizarre and strange. But any excuse to have Sam Elliott, yes. And then the fact that he sort of works as like the audience, explains to him like why you got to swear so much, and later on he's like, he didn't like that somebody died. So just to take a time out from the movie, it's almost like this weird metaphysical, spiritualist moment. A lot of deep spirituality in the Big Lebowski. Bones is looking at the Arrow 50% sale. Oh yeah. No, no. Bones is a king of finding good stuff on sale. That's the Bones and Hobbs, they're the budget ballers. That makes 2 times I know now they've done that to me with channels I'm subscribed to and have to click the bell, wonder how many lives I've missed because of them. Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. It's like, well, subscribe to somebody, but then also click the bell so you get notified. But it's like I just like a straight timeline of, just put everybody I subscribe to in order. I'll go through it later. Did you ever see Fantastic Planet from the 70s? Yeah, yeah. That was one I saw when I was a kid, and then later on I had to watch it in a film class. But that's another one I'd like to go back and watch again. Certain films as you get older and have more of a discerning eye and you recognize, tropes and various, especially old films. I like going back and seeing what they accomplished when they had nothing. Nowadays everything the answer is they just use computers to do that. But back then it's like models and painting and a matte painting and all this stuff, superimpose, rear projection, all the tricks that they used when they had to do it practically. Oh, here's Max, what's his name? The famous video artist. Boutique ball is in the house. Oh, yeah, I can't. This is the whole thing where he explains what's his name? Uli, her co-star in the Beaver film. And then he was in a band called Autobahn, but Bahn is Bahn with the umlaut. I've seen Maude Lebowski before. Well, Maude and Dude at Halloween. That's one of the things I judge by a movie, like its cultural impact. If I see people from the movie floating around at like Halloween parties or places where people have an excuse to dress up, and I know I've seen Maude's and the Dude before. Of a friend with a cleft asshole, the main guy, Uli Kunkel, who co-star in the Beaver picture. Um, in fact, Jack Journey was a fun show in the '80s, only lasted a season. Um, I like Food of the Gods with the giant rats and the chicken. Yeah, for sure. That was a classic one where it's like you can tell how they made it, but the fact that they made it like that's awesome. Night of the Lepus or Lepus, whatever you say. Uh, just the idea that like, okay, we're gonna get bunnies and then we're just gonna have them just run through little miniatures of farmhouses and stuff. Brilliant. I'm in. Take my money. Who is this guy? That's Knox Harrington, the video artist. Yeah, once again, here's a classic scene. The dude doesn't know what is going on. He's always so confused. He's like 2 steps behind the plot, and it's hard to follow the plot if you're pretty quick. So the idea that dude is now trying to figure out how Uli is probably in on the fake kidnapping plot with Bunny, and that's a fake toe, and yada yada. I listened to things from Wizzy, which the punk band Peter Dinklage was part of. He was the second lead singer. Peter Dinklage was in a punk band? I didn't know that. Good info, Echo. I will check into that. Wizzy. This was pre-big time Dinklage. Well, I was gonna make a cheap joke there. Why should I? Larry has a NECA figure with those rabbits. Awesome. I didn't know that. He may actually. So here's where Maud says she feels bad about Jeffrey getting punched in the face by one of her henchmen. So she gives him a card to go see a doctor. He's a good man and thorough. And in his physical for checking the hurt jaw, he also checks out his like prostate and stuff because he's a good man and thorough. So then later on, we figure out that Maud's whole relationship is she wants to get pregnant by Jeffrey because much like the same way the kidnapping money thing was, it's like we need someone who's not connected for her to have a kid with. And that's the kid who I want to see a sequel for. You know, let me see Lebowski, the son of Lebowski. I'll watch it. Hobbs horror. Woo! What's not a party without me, folks? What up, Night Owl? How you doing, Hobbs Horror? The Pumpkin King in the house. Nice to see you, my friend. He's the son of a plumber. I say I make a cheap job. Yeah. You were with me on that same level, Echo. The Hobbs in the house. Yeah, Pumpkin King in the crib. Welcome, Hobbs. Nice to see you. Oh, there's once again. Remember, I was talking about how his car takes the beating in this movie instead of his face. There's the part where he's smoking the little tiny roach and he drops it in his lap and it burns his crotch and he's like trying to smack it away and he runs into the garbage can. That hit is one of the most real looking like car crashes in a movie I've ever seen. As soon as he slams into it and the car bounces, I'm like, oh, that hurt. Hurts your tailbone. But this is also how he stumbles on to the whole Larry, what's his name, the sidebar where his dad wrote the whole bulk of the series of Branded or whatever. Yeah, these none of this is useful at all. Like if you tried to make a real story where this was important plot points, it's way too confusing. Flunking history. Oh, here's where he goes sees his neighbor or his landlord, where he's like, "Will you come and see my performance and give me notes?" And then they go and we see him do the um weird, I don't know what this is, dawn of creation or something, where he's dressed up in all these leaves and flowers. He's rolling around and stuff. You ever had anybody who does this performance on your show, Patrick? Don, you're a dad. You get to make dad jokes, which are better than cheap jokes. I try to explain to my kids that my corny dad jokes are teaching them character because I never mean to anybody, and a clever pun at least teaches them wordplay. At least that's the excuse I say to make cheap dad jokes all day long. I like how Walter put on a suit to come to this performance. His father is Arthur Digby Sellers. You ever heard of a show called Branded? Like, this has nothing to do with anything. The whole thing where they go to Larry's house and the Arthur is in the damn what, iron lung. Does he still write? No, he has health problems. But I think the dude, part of his charm and the reason he's become like a stoner icon is he has to suffer through all this, and he ends up saving the day while being pretty much baked the whole movie. So, shout out to the functioning potheads out there. You're making it happen. Ain't nothing but a night of a party. Right? Glad to have you here, Pumpkin King. No, thank heaven. And even the whole thing where they go to this, there's a whole subplot where they're like gonna run by the In-N-Out burger or whatever, and then later on you see them eating, the In-N-Out burger while they're over there. The Coens are the callback kings. Previously on the channel, I've watched Fargo and Raising Arizona. I'm sure at some point we'll probably get to the Hudsucker Proxy because that's just a crazy fun movie to talk about. No Country from Old Men or for Old Men is like the amazing one of theirs that it doesn't feel like theirs because it's so not silly, but it's an amazing film, like such a gritty, kick-ass, film about paranoia, and there's like a artistic ending to it that makes people talk about it forever. Blood Simple was the one my stupid brain wouldn't think of earlier. They started off their whole career of making movies with, um, kind of a mystery, suspense, thriller, noir deal. I don't know. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou is pretty great. I still think Raising Arizona, this and then Raising Arizona are my two favorite. Fargo probably right there in third. Let me know your favorite Coen Brothers film in the comments or the chat. Unless it's that awful one with George Clooney and Catherine Zeta-Jones. I can't remember what it's called. That one was terrible. And The Lady Killers. Oh, The Lady Killers was awful. If you're gonna watch The Lady Killers, watch the original Peter Sellers one. Don't watch the Tom Hanks one with Marlon Wayans. Don't encourage Marlon Wayans. Let's see here. Echo says Hobbs in that short. I did a St. Jack's. I don't know if you could tell in the video they had a number of old 8 films to die for after dark horror fest movies. I have a bunch of those 8 films to die for and after dark horror fest movies. I can't believe how many there are. Like that's one you find like if you like to go to disc recycling places or like pawn shops or thrift shops, whatever. You can find a lot of those 8 films to die for in the after darks. I got a ton of them. I've had to replace sales. I'm gonna have to grab them up. Hoot, hoot, hoot. That's me. I love those films, Echo. Yeah, there's a bunch of good ones. They're right there. A lot of the masters of horror are hit and miss. There's a couple in there that aren't that great, and there's a few that are awesome. The 8 films to die for. There's a lot of potential in there. Some hidden gems. Yeah, I did a short film local video store. It's still open in my small town. Awesome. I'd love to go to an old video store just to walk around. I don't think I'd rent anything, but just the nostalgia of it. If two priests, but is it loves at first sight? Exactly. Thank you. That's a man who has 2 kids right there. They're 2 sons. So yeah, exactly. So now here, once again, like I mentioned, the car, Lebowski's car, gets his butt kicked the whole movie. So John Goodman decides that this Corvette parked in front of the kid who they think stole the money. Uh, they think that it's his Corvette that he bought with the stolen money, and he goes out and beats it up. So then the guy comes out and says, "That's my car," and starts beating up the dude's car. So once again, the dude's car just gets its ass kicked the whole movie. It's works as like an avatar for him. See what happens when you spork a stranger in the ass? Spork a stranger in the spork? Smurf a stranger in the spork. Something. Raising Arizona is good. Yeah, I love me some Raising Arizona. They did 8 films died for from 2006 to 2008 and 2010 again, and then in 2015 before stopping for good. Yeah, that's the one. See, I never saw a complete list of them, so it's one where I'll just be going through some pile of rummage sale DVDs or whatever, and there's another weird 8 films to die for I've never heard of. It's like I thought they were only supposed to be 8. Uh, I enjoyed some of the After Dark films, some more than others. Yeah, right. I like the Fangoria Fright Fest Chronicles better. A great little motion picture is great to watch with a beer. I haven't seen those, I don't think. Are those ones floating around like on Shutter and whatever? Um, I know some of those film festival ones. I got a few of those too, Don. I've been reviewing the Masters of Horror for a Dollar Theory. I actually have a Masters of Horror. It's a tomb, and you open it up and it's got like a mausoleum or whatever, and it's got like all the discs inside of it and like all pretty and in their own little funky envelopes and stuff. I'll have to bust that out sometime and do a review of it and show it off. That's a cool one. But yeah, I have way too many of the Masters of Horrors, and I still haven't even seen them all. Last Blockbuster still going strong in Oregon. Yeah, I did a video about it. It's available in the shorts on my channel. Be sure to check out Night Owl Movie Talk and subscribe, like, tell a friend, buy a shirt, all that stuff. But the video store in my old hometown, the Blockbuster that closed down, the last one, um, on Google it says they're temporarily closed. So I always feel like in any day you could just drive by the video store and they might be open again, haunted. In truth, most video stores have been broken into in the middle of the night, had all their copper wire stolen. The video store is not coming back. For the record, I am 3 hours and 15 minutes from the last Blockbuster. Oh, well, I didn't know that. Is there a documentary about that? I want to see that. Blood Simple was good from the Coen Brothers. Yeah, I enjoyed Blood Simple. Barton Fink. It's a wrestling picture. Um, these two, like I say, the Fargo and the Big Lebowski were working together. Um, Burn After Reading is decent. Um, uh, yeah, I didn't like Lady Killers. I can't think of what the name of that damn awful Catherine Zeta-Jones, George Clooney one was. That one was bad. Love something? I don't know. Um, but in general, what do you call it? What's the one? Hail Caesar? Something like that? The one with Channing Tatum? Oh, here's Jackie Treehorn. And like, here's classic hero shot. I talk about hero shots sometimes in in these things we watch. This is a classic one. There's this haze. We see a woman being thrown up in the air naked with a bed sheet, and these people are having this crazy outdoor beach party. And it's supposed to be so wild. They got a naked lady bouncing on a sheet. Um, but then out of this hazy mist of this beach, we see Ben Gazzara, freaking uh, Wesley from Roadhouse, come walking up at us out of this haze, and then he comes walking right up into the camera and looks directly at us. It's as soon as he takes the screen, you feel like, oh, this is an important character. Once again, this is directly something out of the way those old Bogart films looked. The Midnight Movie Horror Collection was pretty stoic for its time as well. Nice Friday motion picture with that particular collection. I don't know how many of the Midnight Movie Horror Collection. Nice echo. That's cool. You get to see where they filmed the Goonies. It's kind of close to there, also. Oh, I didn't know that. No, so we haven't been in Southern Oregon over 30 years. No, we're trying to avoid it. Oh, 30 years. Intolerable Cruelty. Thank you, Patrick. Yeah, that's the one with Catherine Zeta-Jones and George. I didn't like very much. I saw that one in the theater. I was super let down. I do remember the Oregon Trail PC game. What a time to be alive. Everybody died of dysentery. It's a weird Coen brother one that not a lot of people talk about is The Man Who Wasn't There with Billy Bob Thornton. We were talking about black and white movies earlier and how this you could turn the saturation down and probably enjoy it in black and white. And I feel like The Man Who Wasn't There is that experiment. Like it's just sort of this crazy, real dark, dry comedy, but it's black and white. Billy Bob and a young Scarlett Johansson. Oh Brother Where Art Thou? Yeah, I dig that one. The music in Oh Brother Where Art Thou was fantastic. And Clooney, he's another one of those where I think that's where him and that was kind of gibberish. I apologize. That was the movie I think where him and the Coen brothers really meshed well together. So after that, Clooney became like a Coen brothers part of their ensemble cast that they always use. So here's where, and a lot of times these movies you'll see like a bad guy will scribble a note, and then the detective will go over and do the thing where they sketch a pencil slightly across the paper that has indentations on it, so he can read what the person wrote, above the note they tore off. Except in this, the little funny plot twist, almost like Airplane or something, is that Jackie Treehorn was just drawing a doodle of a guy with a boner. And once again, much like when earlier when the dude gets punched in the jaw and he gets knocked out, and then they do that whole like um scene where he's floating in the sky and going following Maude, and they go through the bowling alley and all that. Here's where he passes out. Hell of a Caucasian, Jackie. And he has sort of this drugged dream hallucination, which is like another excuse to have like kind of this crazy musical scene. It's like, what we need is a big Busby Berkeley musical scene in here. You need to watch Cut Bank, Don. Great movie. Cut Bank, huh? I haven't seen it. Cut Bank. I'm not familiar with it. So here's where the dude realizes he's been drunk. He's been drugged and he's stumbling around and falling. Makes a hell of a Caucasian, Jackie. Ben Gazzara is awesome. He's primarily known for what, Gandhi? And then but he's in this movie, I think Sexy Beast it's called. He's really good in that. But obviously most fans of movies like I like obviously know him from Roadhouse. All the dude ever wanted was his drug back. And this is where we realize the henchmen from the beginning, Wu and them, they actually work for Jackie Treehorn, which I think they say early on in the beginning, but it's irrelevant until we actually meet Jackie Treehorn. Darker than the black steers took us on a moonlit night. So here's the music video with Jackie Treehorn presents. This HD transfer looks great. Every now and then I've watched a movie so many times on VHS or on cable or whatever that when I go through and I really stare at the HD transfers, you can see just, what a difference it means. So here's Gutter Balls. Gutter Balls is another excuse to do all sorts of crazy camera tricks and, get their Sam Raimi stylized stuff out. And here's Saddam working at the bowling alley. Call back to that whole thing at the beginning with Saddam and this aggression will not stand, man, and all that. The whole movie kind of just keeps repeating itself and folding into itself. Like I said, the dude just pretty much regurgitates stuff over and over. I need to bring back Stir Crazy with Pryor and Walder. That's one I would watch again. There's another one I've seen just so many times. That was one that was on, I don't know, cable of every variety when I was a kid. Um, Grossberger or whatever his name is, the big King Kong Bundy looking dude in the jail cell with Gene Wilder. That was a cool one because Gene Wilder and Pryor are funny together, but it's also like this prison escape movie, and there's a lot of tension and stuff in there. Yeah, this whole thing, this works well because, like I say, it gives them excuse to do their big, lavish, like musical numbers almost. But then it also shows that in the dude's mind state that he's been thinking about Maude and he's kind of having sex dreams about Maude. So when he wakes up and she's standing there and she's like, Jeffrey, love me. We kind of have a pre-inclination that he's interested in grabbing onto her bowling balls. Hobbs, I want to try a horror edition of Oregon Trail. Oregon Trail. Did you ever see Ravenous? There's the horror edition of the Oregon Trail. Or did you ever see what's it called? Cannibal the Musical by the South Park guys? It's basically the same thing as Ravenous. I actually rented both of those movies back in the day on the same weekend, and I was like, is everything about the damn Donner Party? But if you haven't seen Ravenous, I recommend it. It's fabulous. Um, who would freak out more than kids from the 80s seeing the 2000s for the first time, or kids today having experienced the 80s? Well, I try to show my kids stuff from the 80s, and they, like, for instance, I have a 10-month-old, and she's like anything big and bright in music she likes. So Disney Channel has an updated version of the Muppet Babies. So my kids are very familiar with the Muppet Baby characters and stuff, and I tried to show them my old Muppet Babies, and man, they like looked at me like I was showing them some like bizarro Superman type thing. That my daughter's face, like she said it was cursed. I was like, "What do you mean it's cursed?" She's like, "That's cursed. I don't know what's going on with that." So I think kids from the 80s seeing modern stuff would kinda have their mind blown, like, "Wow." Actually, I think I'd be mad from the 80s if I saw today's stuff. It's like, "You guys don't have holograms and 3D TVs without glasses and stuff yet? I want the Princess Leia, Obi-Wan Kenobi help me. You're my only hope. I want that TV." Baby Shark. We've put on Baby Shark. See, there's certain things, we put on the educational programming, the Sesame Street, the Coco Melon or whatever. Coco Melon's brutal. The baby loves Little Einsteins, but I can only take so much of that stuff. So, like, Bat Wheels, I'm a big fan of Bat Wheels. It's just like it sounds. It's like Cars, the Pixar movie, except it's all the Batman vehicles. Uh, Big fan of Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, Felicita, Hot Diggity Dog. You get it. Um, but yeah, a lot of anything big, bright, colorful she loves, but things like Baby Shark that are just too cliche, I can't do. So I veto them early on. Coco Melon got very limited play in this house. Show them some Fraggle Rock. I think they made like some sort of updated Fraggle Rock something or other. Um, but yeah, old school Fraggle Rock. Because I showed them after watching Muppet Babies, I showed them Muppets, like the puppets, and that they also thought that was cursed as well. They were like, it looks crazy to see them not in cartoon form. It's like, no, 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 the cartoons are okay. I can't just keep ragging on my kid about their Muppet taste, but just let's just say I appreciate the Muppets on a much deeper level than them. Yeah, Fraggle Rock. I um my buddy Pugwall, 316, Matt. Sometimes when they'll see me watching one of his videos, I call him Uncle Traveling Matt. And it's a joke only for me. Well, here's where this like strange sheriff for no reason, but this is totally a sheriff out of like a bogey movie, beats up Lebowski. He throws the damn coffee cup against his head, and then tells him to keep his gold bricking ass out of his town. Here's the classic. Jesus, man, could you change the channel? I hate the Sporking Eagles. I totally sympathize with you, dude. I think I just spilled beer. That's not important right now. Speaking of that's not important right now, has anybody seen the new Naked Gun updated in the theater? I'm interested in it. I think it's produced by Seth MacFarlane. They took it away from the old Zuckers, which I don't know if I'm against because they were behind all the scary movie stuff, and that was not really my cup of tea. I prefer the traditional airplane Naked Gun stuff. So I'm interested what the new Naked Gun looks like with Liam Neeson. So here, Bunny goes driving by, singing "Viva Las Vegas," showing that she was just in Vegas for the weekend or whatever, and she has all 10 green toes with green nail polish. The plot thickens, I say. And here, the dude returns home, and his house has been completely trashed. And that's where he trips over the thing he tried to use as a doorstop, and Maude pops up. Jeffrey, love me. Show them old Mr. Rogers. That one, I don't think that translates either. I think they would be like, this dude feels like a creep. Because even as a kid, I thought Mr. Rogers sort of felt like a creep. Like you just had to kind of take him at his word that he was really that nice. But in a more jaded world, he comes off creepy. It's sad. That's a sad state of affairs, by God. But yeah, that's Mr. Rogers. That probably doesn't translate. If somebody in the park was talking to them like Mr. Rogers, I'm like, get away from him. How would Sheriff Buford handle Big Lebowski? Damn it. They were talking about a sequel already for a new Naked Gun. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. It made a fair amount of money, and comedies like that are very cheap. Obviously, unless you have some big set piece. And even nowadays with CGI, you can do stuff a lot cheaper. It's not like trying to shoot a Tom Cruise movie. There's some new Tom Cruise movie. They were talking about making some underwater adventure or something. This dude wanted $400 million to make his movie. It's like, you're nuts, Tom Cruise. Liam lost his funny bone a long time ago. Yeah, I don't know about Liam Neeson. I mean, the idea of him as Frank Drebin sort of works for me, but at the same time, it kind of doesn't. He's been between Taken and those other like Taken knockoff, like the direct red box type movies he does. I just don't know if I see him in the same light. He might be wacky and crazy. I don't know. I'll find out when it comes to streaming, by God. This is classic the dude and Maud having post coital after sex talk. And he's like, "Yeah, I was in the music industry for a while." What? I was a roadie for Metallica, Speed of Sound tour. Bunch of assholes. There, a lot of ins, a lot of outs. Been adhering to a pretty strict drug regimen to keep my mind limber. Yeah, that's part of the charm with the dude. He's just so ill-equipped to be involved in this complicated game of cat and mouse. These fools are all playing with each other. He just wants his white Russians and his bowling and his nice rug. He don't ask for much more than that. He's late on the rent, but he gets by. This whole thing where Maud's doing these weird yoga poses in bed, and he's like, it improves conception, and he does a spit take. How often do you get to write a spit take into your movie? That shows you how brilliant the Coen brothers are. They get it. Liam Sewer's not the same as Naked Gun humor. Just watch High Spirits. He was funny in that, but the movie was made over 35 years ago. Well, that's the thing with Liam. Like, I always think of him as kind of this modern day Bruce Willis sort of character. Grandpa Jason Statham, and um, but his early career, with him in like Krull and just some of the other stuff he's been in. Rob Roy or whatever. I like him. Did you ever see Kinsey? About to do with the big, you know, he gets around. He does his stuff. But in general, yeah, I don't know. Lately, he's just sort of evolved into the action guy. So I don't know if I see him as the same sort of wackiness. But prior to Airplane, a lot of folks didn't see Leslie Nielsen as like a comedic actor. They only saw him as like a straight actor from those old black and white movies and stuff. So yeah, now he's talking with Maude, and Maude sort of puts it on him that um, he basically gets the plot rolling in his head, and then now he steps back and he's like, "I've been very rigid with my thinking about this," and that's when he solves it all. Well, solves it all. Hey, you can't drive. It's Erev Shabbos. I can't drive. I don't roll. I don't handle money. I'm not even supposed to pick up the phone. More awesome sort of side writing that Walter's ex-wife was Jewish, so he became Jewish because he married her, and now they're divorced. So the dude thinks that he's no longer Jewish, but oh, buddy Walter, he's convinced he's the most Jewish. Here's oh god, what's old buddy's name? I always forget it. Zito? Is that was no? What is it? Esposito? Joe Esposito, right? Yeah, I believe that's his name. The brother Seamus, the private dick. This guy's classic. He's like Danny DeVito light. And he's driving a punch bug, so punch bug, no punchbacks. I'm a brother Seamus. You mean like an Irish monk? I'm a private snoop like you, man. The whole thing where he works for the Knutsons. How are you going to get him back on the farm once they've seen Carl Hungus? And then this whole thing where he calls her his sporking lady friend. Mrs. Night Owl, I called when we were establishing what we were. I often called her my lady friend. It's my sporking lady friend, man. The Knutsons, Fawn Knutson. We need Cheech and Chong and Friday crossover. I'm surprised they haven't at this point. I think probably the big holdup is Cheech. As I recall, he was the one that kind of broke up Cheech and Chong. Like he wanted to be a real actor, like a serious actor. Do more roles like From Dusk Till Dawn. Um, but the Chong, still wanted to do that because Chong was a little more limited. He kind of played the comedic second fiddle. So I think if you could convince Cheech there was a big payday there, and I don't know if you'd have enough money to get Chris Tucker, to be honest with you, because I think he's pretty much like retired. Like he only works when he wants to. Otherwise, he says no. And at one point, he was making like 20 million a movie back when like Money Talks came out and stuff, and those Rush Hour films were such a huge success. So I'm not sure you could get Chris Tucker back for a crossover. But let's just stop and dream for a moment, shall we? Yeah, that would be a good movie. I'd watch that. Smokey Chong is taking a shit. There's Flea. He wants the Linga Bunga pancakes. And then this woman who lost her toe. I never understood why she had her toe removed, but then they also cut off the tip of her boot so we could see the toe was missing. It's like you can have the missing toe underneath the toe of the boot. You don't have to have it exposed. It's important to let your cut off toe air out. He said he'd do another Friday recently. Oh, Chris Tucker would? Yeah, that's the thing. That kind of made him that in the Rush Hour movies. Um, but like I said, there was a period there when Money Talks and a few other things came out where Chris Tucker was like the king of the world. I like how the dude puts two and two together. He's like, "Why the hell would anybody trust me with a bunch of money?" Like, the answer to the whole mystery is, it doesn't make any sense that people would drag me into this. This movie, I saw it the first time because my mom went to Blockbuster, and instead of renting movies, they were having one of those sales. So she bought 4 VHSs and brought them home, and I still remember that bundle when she came in the door. She had, this, Desperate Measures with Michael Keaton, looks like a Hannibal Lecter type, ripoff, Andy Garcia maybe. Instinct, I think it was, with, like, Cuba Gooding Jr. and Anthony Hopkins, and then, The Peacemaker with George Clooney and, what's her name? Uh, Tom Cruise's old wife. Um, Nicole Kidman. That's it. Sorry, I don't mean to be sexist. I couldn't think of her name. And to this day, I still remember that bundle of 4 VHSs because I thought I was going to enjoy Desperate Measures, and I was very much let down. And I never watched Instinct because it just was very boring looking. But this was the gem. Like, all my friends wanted to borrow this, and I'd have to like tell people, "Don't be letting people borrow Big Lebowski now." And the VHS, the cover was each of the characters, and they wrapped around the VHS when you turned it and looked at it and stuff. The first DVD version I had was totally bare bones. It was just the movie. It was basically the thumbnail of the video for this. But then later on, when they came out with the big double disc of the Big Lebowski Addiction on DVD, that one I don't know. I probably watched that over and over, all the making ofs and the Coen brothers in general, their commentary style, like they're very just unamused with themselves, but then every now and then they'll crack up at what they've come up with. They're like Sam Raimi light. Oh, and here's the part where they go and confront the Big Lebowski, and Walter tries to pick him up out of the chair, and he falls down. This part, all like at the very end here, this feels like Harold and Maude to me. I don't know if you've ever seen that. Like just the dark turn that this movie takes, and just these buffoons, stumbling around like these big, beautiful mansions. That's what Harold from Harold and Maude always feels like to me. Um, yeah, I don't know. Let me know in the chat or the comments if you would like to see another Friday movie. Um, It was weird that he dipped out after Friday 2. I liked, the first one, and I think I saw the second and the third one in the theater, and I don't know, do they have more Fridays after that? It seems like I think there was the Friday after next, and then the next Friday after the next, and then the next of the next, and the Friday of the next, uh, son of next Friday. One of them's a Christmas movie. I think it's the third one. That's like a fun, so many dumb movies we watch at Christmas time. It's like, mix a Friday movie in there. All right, so here's where John Goodman picks him up, and he's trying to like prove that he can walk, and he drops him, and the little Pomeranian's licking his face. It's like just the total indignity he has to suffer. Let's pick him up, man. Bunny came home, no thanks to you. They do like Halloween and pick up from the first one again, right? Well, actually, I don't know. I can't encourage that because that's one of my only beefs with Halloween. Is that the timelines in the Halloween movies are such a pain to try to follow. It's like, well, there's 1 and 2, and then you could go after 2, it's like choose your own adventure. Do you wanna go to 4, or do you wanna go to H2O? Or if you'd like to see Jamie Lee Curtis have a daughter, press here. I never got why the dude is doing his nails. I'm assuming it must make bowling easier, or maybe he just likes a nice shiny coat. I don't know. Here's where Walter says the classic line. He's like espousing like how great the Viet Cong were. He's like, "Ah, that's a man in black pajamas. That's a worthy adversary." And then see here again, there's the wraparound where they're talking about the Iraqi war. So clearly there has to be some sort of like themes and subtext relating to it. The movie starts with George Bush talking about the Iraqi war and them not standing for it and then ends with it. So clearly the Coen brothers had something on their mind when they did that. I don't know. I've never really followed that train of thought other than maybe just trying to show the time they live in. Jesus's buddy, the one with the flat top with the mustache, he looks like every plumber. Well, actually, he looks like is like a window salesman. Like if somebody knocked on your door, is like, "I'd like to sell you some new windows." That guy. Whoever cast him, he's perfect. And now we come to the big climax. They walk out from bowling. Bunny's been recovered. Everything's straight. But then the car has finally. Well, they did it. They killed my car. We want the money, Lebowski. And then the whole thing about I spark you, and they're doing like the worst fighting scene ever. It's such an insane comedic like climax to this movie. Peter Stormare, yes or no? Are you a fan of Peter Stormare? Every time, I mean, he's amazing. He turns up in everything. The other day I was watching what's it called? Before Dawn or something like that, Until Dawn. It's on Netflix. It's like a horror movie based off of a PlayStation game. And he's in that and he's great. He's great in Constantine, Fargo. Every time Stormare turns up, it's like, yep, yep, there he is, just doing what he do. God bless him. I'm not going to read them off, but let's see what Peter Stormare's acting credits. How many? It's got to be 300, right? Uh, Peter Stormare has been in. Let me see it. Let me see it. 215 acting. I would have thought he would have had more, but he has 11 coming up, so he may get that magic 300 number in no time. So now here the German kidnappers have decided they're going to just rob them for whatever cash they have on them. That's how we'll settle this big whole money. What do you got in your pocket? $18? We'll take it. An old buddy pulls a sword. Like if you got into a parking lot fight, somebody pulled a sword. Do you run away? Do you laugh? Flea is a good like he gets hit in the nuts with the bowling ball there and he like hurls over like he's gonna puke. Flea's a good he sells that good. Like I believe he got hit in the balls with that. So now the dude is trying to fight him off with his bowling bag. And there he Mike Tyson's his Peter Stormare's ear. Yeah, it comes down to like this crazy action scene, like it's a damn Matrix or something, and the two of them just like have a parking lot fight. But Walter finally proves to be like valuable. He's not just all talk. And then it takes this sad turn where, for no reason, Donnie has a heart attack and dies. How very French of you, Big Lebowski. Why you gotta throw this emotion at me? I like Donnie just being part of the crew. Why you gotta kill him off to make some sort of like dramatic point? It's like when Kevin Smith wanted to kill off Dante in Clerks. Why? Why would you do that to your audience? And then he waited till Clerks whatever and killed him off, you bastard. Echo says, Until Dawn movie, which is a prequel to the game, he plays some character, plus the movie has a few Easter eggs to the game. I enjoyed Until Dawn. That was one of those when you Google a lot of movies, Google like your main page starts showing you recommendations and articles by Collider and Bloody Disgusting or whatever. So they recommended 5 movies that are streaming I should check out, and one of them was Until Dawn, and then I enjoyed it. It does the tired Groundhog Day, Happy Death Day to me, trope where the person dies and is regenerated like a video game, and they keep respawning and respawning. But it's actually a pretty good one, up there with Edge of Tomorrow and that whole ilk. Are we still calling it Edge of Tomorrow? Or are we supposed to call it Live, Die, Repeat? I hate when movies have 2 names. There's the whole Dark Angel, I come in peace debacle. Every single time I get confused. I mean, here, even this, the movie's over. We've talked about this before with movies, especially monster movies or big action movies. When the plot of the movie, the monster has been slain, Bunny's returned and everything's gone back to normal. Why are we dealing with this whole thing where they go and try to buy an urn for Donnie who's been cremated, and then they go and take him out and he blows away in the wind? It's like the momentum of the movie is fizzled out after the fight scene in the parking lot. So then we just sort of spend like another 5 minutes dicking around, sporking around. Sorry. So yeah, they put Donnie in a Folgers can and take him up here, and then we get this like eulogy for Donnie, and that's the most we've learned about him the whole movie. We didn't know shit about him. He's just sort of hanging out, asking questions, and getting yelled at. Oh, Goodman, you're amazing. I recently watched 10 Cloverfield Lane again, and he's so good in that because he can play scary, like menacing. He seems like a big, friendly, cuddly teddy bear, but at a moment's notice, he can like, just snap a switch and become a total crazy person. Yeah, I recommend Until Dawn. At least give it a try and let me know what you think. And then somehow Walter turns Donnie's eulogy into a discussion about Vietnam because of course he does. At Hill 364 in Khe Sanh. Yeah, it's just like a quick reminder. Walter's nuts. There's no reason for this at the end of the movie, but it adds flavor to it. It's a memorable scene, but it's the classic problem of all the momentum of the movie's done. Why are we still here? Yeah, and it's long and drawn out and talking. I mean, it's funny to see him give this like long-winded poetic eulogy to Donnie, who he was been mean to the whole movie. And he says, "Good night, sweet prince." And the ashes blow right in the dude's face. Big face full of Donnie. May you have a face full of Donnie. I don't know what that means. Metaphorically speaking, it's probably good luck. Yeah, I don't know. I would like to see another sequel. I would watch the daughter or son of the dude. Yeah, Coen Brothers, if you're watching this, go ahead. Go ahead and make that sequel. I'll watch it. Goodman showed up. Goodman showed how scary he can be when he did Roseanne. Just look at the episode when he beat the shit out of his sister-in-law, man, who was beating her. Yeah, Goodman. That's the thing. He's scary in what do you call it? Barton Fink as well. He plays like a serial killer and shit. Spoiler alert. Um, but yeah, he has that feeling of like, yeah, he's this big cuddly teddy bear, but then at any point he can just lose his shit and just in whatchamacallit, Raising Arizona, he plays that same thing with them. He's him and oh god, what's his name? The dude from Stone Cold, William Forster, is that his name? Whatever. Old buddy. The two of them, like they're hilarious together, but it also feels like they could be up to some criminal antics, by golly. So once again, yeah, we get like just another Coen Brothers like love letter to bowling alleys. Like here we're watching the ball return machine go. The movie and everything we needed to get out of the movie has been done for like 10 minutes now. But then the dude, he'll sit down at the bar and have a talk with the narrator. And he calls a beer an oat soda, which I always appreciate. Sometimes you eat the bear, and sometimes, hey man, they need to send Sam Elliott's mustache to the Smithsonian. Like it's a national treasure. Because, like, if I grew that mustache, you'd be like, "Oh, you got that big, silly, ridiculous Froggy Wintercourt and Heated Right cram-bone mustache." But on Sam Elliott, it looks reasonable. It's like, "No, no, that's about what it should look like." "Ah, thank you, dude. I know that you will." The dude abides. That's my question to you. Does the dude actually abide? I think the lesson of the movie is yes. What's your favorite Sam Elliott movie? I'm gonna go Fatal Beauty with Whoopi Goldberg. No, I'm gonna go Mask. Okay, that's a lie. I'm gonna go this. Okay, that's a lie. I'm gonna go Roadhouse. What's your favorite Sam Elliott? Let me know in the comments of the chat. So yeah, once again, we've been done. That's about does her. Wraps are all up. Seems to have worked out pretty good for the dude, Walter. It's like, dude, this movie's been over 10 minutes ago. But somehow, even though this stuff frustrates me, it's still just an amazing, awesome movie that I can watch over and over and over again and quote over and over again. You mean coitus? Vagina? Scary and Arachnophobia too. You're right. Goodman is. Sick or Treat's favorite is Tombstone or Mask. Yeah, Tombstone I watched recently as well. He's good in Tombstone because he looks old westy, doesn't he? Like he, you can almost make like old westerns don't really work nowadays. You know, you have to go out of your way to make a good western. But if you have Sam Elliott, you're like already on the way there. It's like we're gonna need a couple horses, maybe like the facade of a saloon. We're ready to roll. Well, I thank you. There, that was a cool shot. The camera was behind the bar talking to the dude, and then it panned over to the narrator. And then when he walked out of the screen, it picked up over and went over into the bowling alley and reset kind of in the middle for a symmetrical shot. Um Coen Brothers are amazing with moving the camera, amazing with their shooting and color and everything. Um but yeah, that is the Big Lebowski. Fantastic movie. I love it. I've watched it. Oh God, now this is probably the 50th time. We'll say, um, never gets old. Always silly and funny. The lines every time I see them, they just get. It's like The Exorcist. I've seen it a million times. It's funnier every damn time. But I thank you for hanging out and watching The Big Lebowski with me. I'm going to make the attempt to try to do these shows more. I'm hiding this promise way at the end because nobody ever watches till the end. So I thank you for hanging out. I'm gonna try to do more of these shows. I don't know when on what days, so I don't trip over my friends or compete with people. But it's important to me. I also talk to my homies. I miss you guys in the chat and everything. Oh, Sick or Treat gets in one more Prancer as a pick for to put in there for Sam Elliott. Um, so I thank you for joining me and watching this. It is 2 a.m. in the morning here, my time, so I should probably find myself something to eat, take a shower, and go to sleep. I thank you for joining me. I appreciate you very much, and I wish you nothing but green grass and high tides forever. Adios, amigos. Catch you later.